1 minute starting right now to get into state. Breathe deeply, down into your abdomen. Feel the energy come up. Breathe and find height in your pose. Breathe out, relax into that height. Today, we'll talk about the magician. Bring up the magician energy in your body right now, the creative forces in yourself. The magician brings out aspects out of thin air, aspects of yourself. The work we're doing here is magician work. You know, we have a black screen, we have writing, we have a voice that is hopefully penetrating into your mind and activating certain elements of yourself. As I speak to you, I am playing the role of the king of blessing. I'm playing the role of the warrior, taking action for you. But above all, I am taking the role of the magician. I am giving you a space for you to do the work that is required. The book King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, in the chapter of the magician, goes through a very deep account of the historical background of the magician. Magicians have been strung through the realms of history for thousands of years. They were the primordial psychotherapists of the time. As we go forward, we'll see how the magician, the alchemists of the day and the sorcerers of the day were just manifestations of this magician energy. So, page 106. The magician energy is the archetype of awareness and of insight, but also of knowledge of anything that is not immediately apparent or commonsensical. It is the archetype that governs what is called in psychology the observing ego. The observing ego, very interesting concept here. It is the part of you that watches yourself. It is the part of you that knows that you exist. The observing ego is the part that governs you, that forms your identity, that looks at yourself. In various aspects of meditation, which is a form of magician energy in itself, the ultimate is to reach a state where we can center our own thoughts, the observer, away from our thoughts. You know, we have a spiritual movement by Eckhart Tolle, the book called A New Earth, assisted by no other than Oprah Winfrey, of course. But the book tells us of how we are not our thoughts, how we are actually a consciousness that is away from our thoughts. And when we can disassociate the two, our thoughts and our actual selves, that is when the magician comes up. That is when we understand ourselves. The observing ego, its proper role is to stand back and observe, to scan the horizon, to monitor data coming in from both the outside and the inside, and then, out of its own wisdom, its knowledge of power within and without, and its technical skill in channeling, to make the necessary life decisions. When you have the magician active in your life, you intuitively understand what is going on around you. This is an energy of intuition, of knowing, simply knowing, not knowledge, just knowing what to do. The magician will guide you in your life. The warrior will take the action for you, but he needs the magician to show him which way to go. When the observing ego is aligned with the masculine self along an ego-self axis, it is initiated into the secret wisdom of this self. The magician, then, is designed for you to observe yourself and to dig deep into your own consciousness. it's very you have a lot of benefit from mining into your own psyche, just digging in and finding things, because you will find parts of yourself that you were not aware before, and that is where the true power of yourself comes from. The true power comes from not what you know right now, not what you do, but it comes from the subconscious elements of yourself, the gold that is hidden within yourself. We will get to that in a later time. The magician archetype, in concert with the observing ego, keeps us insulated from the overwhelming power of the other archetypes. In other words, it balances the other archetypes together. It itself is an archetype, but it balances the others in its own way. The magician energy is present in the warrior archetype in the form of his clarity of thinking, which we have already discussed. It's there in how it shows him what to do, the clarity in itself, the insight, the snap judgments, the moving without thinking, that kind of thing. The magician alone does not have the capacity to act, but he does have the capacity to think. The archetype is, it's an act of introversion. The magician then is the archetype of thoughtfulness and reflection, and because of that, it is also the energy of introversion. It allows us to understand ourselves better, to go within. Whenever you go within, you are activating the magician. If you go within in an immature way, in a in a shadow way, then you can damage yourself. But if you have the magician in its fullness, then you allow yourself to grow as a man. If we think for a moment about all the areas in our lives in which clear, careful thinking based on inner wisdom and technical proficiency would help, then we realize our need to properly access the magician. Now, listen to this part carefully. Often, in difficult situations, people are drawn into some kind of space and time frame that can be called sacred. The magician creates our need for sacredness. We've lived through a time where we're living in a time where religion is really being bombarded by modern culture, and for good reason, because it has caused a lot of problems in our world. But that is because it has been connected to shadow elements of ourselves, the shadow warrior, the shadow king, and the shadow magician. When it is created in a healthy way, we have a situation in which we create what is called a sacred space. A sacred idea is of vital importance to a man. Vital importance because it gives his life meaning. It gives his life clarity. And also, it gives the space for ritual. Ritual is incredibly important in life. Not just, we have basic rituals like brushing our teeth and, doing the laundry and all that. Rituals that keep us sane, but also rituals that help us grow. When our fathers teach us a lesson, that is a ritual. When our fathers bless us, that is a ritual. When we celebrate our, how much we have achieved in our lives, that is a ritual. We still have rituals to this day, when we celebrate athletes and we present awards to the athletes, that is a ritual there. A sacred space is a ritual in which we find a safe space for our psyches and we go within and we celebrate the gifts that we have within. This video here that you're watching right now, the space that you are watching, this is a sacred space. It is designed to bring the best out of you. It is designed for you to connect with your divine purpose, your power, and your insight. That is why I do not show my face on these videos, because, I cannot attribute these ideas to myself. I have to give them a weight that is outside of myself. That is why I only project my voice and I give it a black screen. The black screen is there so that it kind of draws you in and puts you in a certain space of time. That is why I ask you to get into state, to get in touch with these energies. The black screen helps, the rudimentary writing helps, the voice only helps. Okay, I'm trying to go deep inside of you. We'll just finish the video by going through some of the historical background of the magician here. So one aspect of the magician's knowing, of his seeing into the depths not only of nature but of human beings, was his capacity to deflate arrogance. The magician archetype is a man. The magician archetype in a man is his bullshit detector. So anytime you detect bullshit in other men or in yourself, then that's the magician working. In fact, I think it is a life skill that must be mastered. A bullshit detector for the self. Think about where you're bullshitting in your life. Complete bullshit. You know where it is. You know where it is. You have to get rid of those. The first theoretical science is the knowing aspect of the magician energy. See, note it is knowing, not knowledge. Knowing is different. Knowing means you just know it in your bones, parts of yourself that you know of yourself. Once you know something, you'll put all your energy into backing it. Once you know your path in life, you will never stop on that path. The second, applied science, is the technological aspect of the magician energy, the applied knowledge of how to contain and channel power. So the technological aspect is just using the tools that is available to you. I am giving you tools right now to access your insides. The magician can use these tools to open up parts of yourself. You're doing it right now as you're listening to this video. Ours is, we believe, the age of the magician, because it is a technological age. It is an age of the magician, at least in his materialistic concern with understanding and having power over nature. The magician energy is not doing so well in the area of personal growth and transformation. Ours is an age, as we've said, of personal and gender identity crisis. For all ritual process and for all deep knowing and controlling of energies of any kind, the issue of sacred space arises. Sacred space is the container of raw power, the step-down transformer that insulates and channels the energies that are drawn into it. It is the reactor shield in the nuclear power plant. It is the sanctuary of the church. It is the hymns and the standard prayers, the invocations and blessings used to invoke the divine power, and then to shield the believers from its raw intensity, while at the same time providing them access to it. The magician is where your true power lies. The warrior harnesses it. The king gives order to it. But the magician is where your true self will come forward. Harness the magician, man. I will show you how. Thank you.